And cybersecurity takes center stage on the Hill as many say a cyber bill is mission critical for our national security and the global economy. All the Angles starts right now.
The threat is real, the vulnerabilities are extensive, and the time for action is now.
The cybersecurity problem is getting worse, not better. There's straightforward evidence that what we're doing now isn't working.
And I have to say this is probably the most interesting and scary testimony I've ever heard.
Threats to communications networks have come a long way in a very short time, and they are very, very real and serious.
And as you can see, Capitol Hill is getting aggressive on cybersecurity, and TIA members, along with Bob Dix, Vice President of Government Affairs and Critical Infrastructure Protection for Juniper Networks, testified just this week at a House Communications Subcommittee hearing. TIA now has the pleasure of having Bob in our studio to give us all of the latest details about the hearing and what we can do as an industry to protect ourselves. Also in our studio is Dilip Sharhari of TIA's Office of Government Affairs. And gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And Bob, you in particular, thank you for making it in today to our studio.
Great to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks for being here again. I have to say, I walked out of the hearing on Wednesday after your testimony and your fellows there testifying as well, with a feeling that there's such a stark contrast between the knowledge base of folks like you and members of Congress and people, maybe the layman people like me. How do we bridge that gap?
We have to keep talking to each other. I mean, the difference is that we're in this business every day. We're fighting this fight every day. Companies like ours and many others like ours are having a lot of success, and we need to continue to talk to one another and learn from one another and understand what the objective is and then collaborate on how best to get there.
Bob, do you feel like at this point that there's almost a complete reliance of the federal government and the public sector on the private sector to bridge that gap and to enact some kind of cybersecurity bill?
I hope that's the case. We're working very hard in trying to counsel with our counterparts on the staff, in the Congress, and in federal departments and agencies to understand the challenge and understand a path forward that preserves the ability for us in the industry, those of us that are working this issue, to be able to maintain nimbleness, agility, and speed in dealing with an evolving threat, as well as maintaining an environment that motivates investment in research and development that's delivering the innovation.
Now, Bob, I want to ask you maybe a bit of a contentious question on a contentious issue, and I hope you're not uncomfortable in answering it. What would you say to critics out there that say that companies, and some of our member companies as well, are using those types of hearings as almost a bully pulpit to push their own agenda forward, as far as incentives and tax breaks and so forth?
The interesting part about that is our agenda is the same agenda, and that's to make this nation safer and more secure. Where we have a separation is in understanding how best to get there. And I think well-intended people may have differing views. What the private sector, and why I was so pleased that we were actually invited to the hearing this week, because that isn't often the case, was we were able to provide some information that I think was enlightening to the members that were in attendance at the hearing. The exchange between the witnesses and the members, the questions that were asked, I think provided information that some members were hearing for the first time. That's driving the dialogue, that's helping understand better where each of us believes we need to go to reach our objective of making this nation safer and more secure and protecting our critical infrastructure.